Hi everybody, Julia Stock here, Business Revolutionary with Be Astute, continuing with the A to Z of business vocab. We have made it to Z. And lots of you were thinking, what's she going to do for Z? I'm talking about zero profits. There you go, a little bit of a cheat, but profitability, or the lack of it, is one of the key reasons why people come to work with people like me. It's not the first reason. Often there will be something more glaring, a more obvious pain point, one that's easier to confess. But generally, when we start unpicking things, we will discover quite early on that a key issue is zero profitability, or really not tight profits. Not necessarily in terms of how people planned for their business to be making profit, but more in the actuality. So when they're quoting for things, it's all looking great. But then somehow, when we look at it at the end of the year, we're going, this bank balance is not going up. How come? And that leads to enormous feelings of resentment on the, why am I working so hard in order to achieve very little? Zero profitability comes down to two simple things. One, you're not charging enough. And we've already talked about pricing. Look at P for pricing earlier in the series. Because there's a lot of head nonsense, your head nonsense as the business owner, hooked up in how you're pricing and what you're pricing. So we can always put our prices up. If we're choosing not to, that's because we're choosing not to, and we need to unpick the reasons why. And a lot of those are down to fear of what will happen. The other reason for zero profitability is that our costs are too high. Normally, it's hidden costs. So within project-based companies, it's because we spent a little bit too much on all of the extras. The project took longer than we quoted for it to take. That's, project overruns. It absolutely kills your profitability. Within construction firms that I work with, often it's costs not being correctly assigned to the job. So when we have a rummage around in the finance system, we discover that there can be, 20, 50, 100,000 pounds worth of costs just sitting there that haven't been assigned to the jobs. So the jobs look profitable, but they're not because they don't have everything assigned to them. That then impacts in terms of, well, we quoted for this and it looks like we made a profit, but you didn't. You spent more than that. So keeping those project costs under control is really important. But the two things go hand in hand. So actually analysing what you're currently spending, where your overheads are, and making sure that when we're calculating our costs, we're actually looking at those fixed and variables and making sure that we're costing based on what we're actually spending. So zero profitability can be fixed. It actually, in all of the business issues, is potentially one of the easier ones to fix. But getting some outside help to unpick it, analyze it, can be a really good way forward. So that's Z for zero profitability. And we are at the end of our A to Z of business vocab. I hope you found it useful.